A biker protest is on the way to the nation's capital, and Ottawa police and city officials say they have a plan to prevent another long occupation like the one we saw back in January.
So for more on this, we're joined now live by CTV senior political correspondent Glenn McGregor in Ottawa. Glenn, I'm curious, the sort of pitch from the Freedom or from this biker convoy is to take back the National War Memorial. Are you clear on what that actually means?
No, I have no idea what that means. I don't know who they're taking it back from. One of the things they raised was the fact that during the Freedom Convoy back in February, that the government put up some temporary fencing to protect the cenotaph after there'd been a couple of incidents. One of those incidents was people urinating, or possibly pets of people urinating in the snow next to the War Memorial, as well as a well-publicized case of a woman who was dancing on the tomb of the unknown soldier. Now, police today said that they have actually identified that woman and that have either laid charges or charges are pending. They didn't seem to be entirely certain about it, but that's kind of the first we've heard that there's been some kind of resolution to that case. But the Rolling Thunder people said, well, they shouldn't have put those fences up because you prevented veterans from being able to go and pay their respects. But of course, those fences came down almost immediately, and anybody can walk up to the War Memorial right now, and it will remain open to pedestrians when this Rolling Thunder convoy of about 400 motorcyclists is expected to arrive starting tomorrow evening, and then with the big event planned on Saturday. But they will not be able to drive around the War Memorial as they had intended. Police are closing down many of the streets in the downtown core to pedestrian and bicycle access only, so vehicles will be prohibited from that area. But they are going to reroute some of these, the motorcycle convoy. They'll be leaving from a shopping mall in the east end of the city, driving towards downtown, but they're only going to pass through kind of the downtown core west of the Rideau Canal for a couple of blocks, and then they're going to get rerouted out of the center of the downtown. So police are really taking kind of a traffic control approach to this. They don't have some of the tools that they had to end the occupation back in February. That is, they don't have the Federal Emergencies Act, and they don't have Ontario state of emergency. So they're going to kind of have to rely on traffic control, bylaw enforcement, things like parking tickets and tickets in no stopping zones, but that's kind of it. But they are, this is, I got to tell you guys, Nick, this is a real test for the Ottawa police, because the people who live in the city were very disappointed in their performance before, and they don't want to see a repeat.
Right. And Greg, we know that this convoy, they're calling themselves Rolling Thunder. I don't know if rolling is some kind of clue or hint as to the fact that they will be passing by, but it seems like Ottawa police really want to make this more of a parade rather than a protest. They're saying that there's going to be a no vehicle or motor vehicle exclusion zone. Do you know if the residents, how they're going to be coordinating that with residents who need to get in and out of areas, or park for that matter?
Right. So the map that the police laid out today, this route that they want the Rolling Thunder convoy to stick to, is fairly narrow, and it does not go through any residential areas. I mean, most of the core of the downtown Ottawa has a lot of apartment buildings down there, as well as further to the south and west, some residential homes. They aren't going to come anywhere near that, or at least they're not going to be allowed to. The challenge, though, for police is that, okay, once you've got this big group, this convoy coming, yeah, you can kind of direct them and make sure they go along the route that they've promised to adhere to. But what happens after? And how do you differentiate between people here who are here possibly to protest from people who live in the city and drive motorcycles? So that's going to be a little bit of a challenge for them. So we'll see how that plays out. The other variable, I've got to say, is that you don't know who else is coming. I mean, the police are in contact with this core group, but there are other organizations, something called Freedom Fighters Canada, which says that they are coming, and they are bringing Chris Sky, who's a well-known anti-vax, outspoken person. He was involved in the speaking out very publicly at the Adamson barbecue back in the GTA back in 2020. So he's supposed to come and intending to speak on Parliament Hill. We don't know who else may come, because there is no clear kind of message for this protest. It's sort of generally about freedom, people say, but many of the vaccine mandates that that some of them were originally protesting, things like the vaccine passports to get into bars and restaurants in Ontario. Of course, that's long gone. So are the masking requirements in many places across the country. So it's a little unclear exactly what their complaint is, but they are rallying behind this cause of freedom, which they always yell very loudly from their trucks, and I expect we'll hear it again starting tomorrow evening.
And unfortunately, the residents might have to hear some honking as well. Okay, CTV's senior political correspondent Glenn McGregor, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Glenn.